Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasanna Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnur Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So we are looking at Shloka 17. So last week, I remember we discussed something about Upendraha and Vamanaha. And Ramchandranji just reminded me that we went all the way till Urjitaha. So I'm looking at 17th Shloka. But I have some additional points that I brought for these two, Upendraha and Vamanaha. So we'll discuss those. And then we'll go back, we'll just go forward a little bit to get to Urjitaha. So I have this additional pointer, so I'm just going to read it. Upendraha has two meanings. One is one who appeared as the younger brother of Indra to help him. And the second meaning is one who is superior to Indra. So the first paragraph that I'm about to read is going to describe the first meaning, which is one who appeared as a younger brother of Indra. It says, Upagataha Indram, one who assisted Indra. Sri Radha Krishna Shastri gives the following instance in this context. Prahlada's grandson Bali defeated Indra by doing penances according to Shukracharya's advice. Indra's mother Aditi prayed to God to get Indra's position back. Since Bali had attained Indra's positions through penance, etc., there was no way of getting back the position easily. So Bhagavan appeared as the younger brother of Indra by being born as the son of Aditi and restoring the position of Indra by asking for 3 feet of land from Bali in his Yagashala. So we have discussed this meaning as the Vamana Avatara. Now I'll do the second meaning, which is one who is superior to Indra. Indrasya upari Indraha. One who is superior to Indra. Upa also means above or superior. So he gives an example of Lord Krishna subduing Indra's self-assumed superiority complex in Gokulam when Indra tried to flood and destroy the place for not offering prayers to him. So this is the Govardhana Giridhari, that Leela. So that way he is superior to Indra. So that's the second meaning that was given. Similarly, I have some additional information on Vamanaha, so I'm going to read that as well. One with the dwarf form, Om Vamanaya Namaha, that's the mantra when we actually do this Vamanaha Namam as a Namavali. Vamayati, Tyajayati, Madam, Balim. One who expelled the pride out of Bali. Vam literally means to vomit out, and Vam could mean one who made Bali literally vomit out his pride. So there is an interpretation. There is another interpretation of Vyutpatti. Vamo Valgutvam or Asya Asti iti Vamanaha. So in this one, it actually means one who has a very charming short form, or it can be also be interpreted as one who has a short form of a Gurukula student, which is how Mahavishnu appeared in front of Bali to ask for the 3 feet of earth from him. The Rupa Saundaryam or Valgutvam of Vamana incarnation is beautifully described in Srimad Bhagavatam. Yajamanaha, so there's a shloka that's given. So I'm just moving past that shloka. So the Yajamana of the Yagashala saw the beautiful appearance of the Brahmachari in the dwarf form and offered the seat to him with a completely captivated heart. In Bhagavatam talks about that. There is another interpretation, one who bestows all the desires of the devotees, or he produces joy in those who see him by his effulgence. In Chandogya Upanishad also, there is a quote from Chandogya Upanishad, Esha u eva vamanihi esha hi sarvani vamani nayati. Somebody who bestows all the desires of the devotees. Such Bhagavan is Vamanaha. So I wanted to bring those two additional contexts that I would not have known before. Okay, so now we will move to Urjitaha because we have already done Pramshuhu, and we have also noticed that they talked about Vamanaha, the dwarf form, and immediately the next Namam comes as Pramshuhu, the tall form of Bhagavan. And we have done Amogha and Shuchihi. Now we are looking at Urjitaha. So we'll look at this one. Urjitaha means one who is endowed with immense strength. Actually, also wanted to bring up, like, previously I have shared based on the nakshatras and the padam that you're born in for in a particular nakshatram, you can chant an individual shloka. So for those who might not have joined us at that time, I'm just going to quickly repeat what I shared. There are 108 shlokas that form Vishnu Sahasranamam. And as we know, there are 27 nakshatras. And each nakshatra, the birth star, has 4 padas. So, they're based on ghadis and like the units of time. The time period that a nakshatra stays within a particular day is divided into 4 sections. So I can provide, like, that time period changes. So we cannot define it as 24 divided by 4 is 6 hours. It wouldn't work like that in lunar calendar. Based on the time the person is born, we say so and so nakshatram, pradama padam, or dvitiya padam, chaturtha padam, and turiya padam, the 4 padas. So 27 multiplied by 4 is 108. So if you look at shloka 1, 2, 3, 4, and the Ashwini, the shloka, actually the nakshatras for chanting Vishnu Sahasranamam, they start with Ashwini nakshatram, the first one. And the first 1, 2, 3, 4 are for Ashwini Pradama Padam, Ashwini Dvitiya Padam, Ashwini Tritiya Padam. In that sense, you can actually chant a particular shloka that is related to the nakshatra that you are born in and the padam that you are very specifically born in. If you don't know your padam, you can chant all the 4 shlokas. So that's how usually, if you're unable to chant the full Vishnu Sahasranamam on a very particular day because of how life takes over certain days, in that context, you can actually chant that 1 or 4 shlokas. What I also thought maybe we will do, like when we are doing the nama, I will also do the specific namavali for each of the namas. So in this case, Urjitaha, the nama would be Om Urjitaya Namaha. So, and as you are learning the meaning of each of these shlokas, if a particular nama appeals to you, or if you're thinking of gaining some benefits or looking for some blessings from Bhagavan in a specific context, you can use that particular nama, you can chant that nama. So I thought that would be an additional benefit for everybody. So this nama is Om Urjitaya Namaha. And Urja generally means balam or strength. So this is one of the Shad Gunas of Bhagavan, and we have seen the six gunas of Bhagavan in Gita. We have seen that in Vishnu Sahasranamam as well. So Jnanam, Balam, Aishwaryam. So these are in absolute measure in Bhagavan. Out of that, those 6 Shad Gunas, Balam is one of those measures, and Bhagavan has Balam in the absolute measure. Even we are strong, and an elephant is strong, but they are very relatively they are relative strength. But we are talking about the immense strength of Bhagavan. All the Balam that exists is him. So this strength is displayed whenever he has had to take care of demons, like evil demons. We have seen many of those contexts in any of the avatars. So he is Urjita not only because of his immense strength, but also because whatever strength each being in his creation has is because he is the source. So any balam that we have is because of Bhagavan, or the reason why we exist is because of his strength. So you can take that into in multiple contexts. And this Urja Namam actually appears in a lot of Vedic contexts. When you're chanting Veda, you hear this very often. And it also comes in Vibhuti Yogam in Bhagavad Gita in the 10th chapter, where Bhagavan says all this that exists is because of a spark from me. Is he Srimadurjitamevava is what he says. So Shankaracharya provides quite a few quotes from Atharva Vedam, from Yajur Vedam, from Rig Vedam. So all of these have that nama Urja. And I like, O Josi, Sahaosi, Balam, Balamasi. If you are doing Sandhya Vandanam, you would know that mantra. So even that one, Ojas or Urja. So it's a very highly powerful nama, and you would know the context for it in the Savitra, the Sandhya Vanam that we do. So as is evident from all of these mantras, the devotee is asking for Balam from Bhagavan, as he is the source of Balam and strength in all his creations. Moving to the next nama, Atindraha. So we are looking at now 17th. Now we are actually entering into 17th sloka. First nama, Atindraha, one who is superior to Indra. That's the meaning. And the mantra that you would use if you're using this nama specifically to do mantra japam, then you would do Om Atindraya Namaha. So we saw how he surpasses Indra by his lordship and his glorious acts. Indra being the king of gods, and Bhagavan exceeds him in wisdom, in greatness, and all those 6 attributes that we have talked about for Bhagavan. There is a point about Indra stands for mind and intellect, and we have seen this as well, that Indra is the king of Indriyas. So, and he is also given the form of Manas, because Manas is actually what controls our senses. So there is a contextual understanding of that Indra is nothing but our mind. So somebody who is superior to the mind, which is, you can take it as the Paramatman, the intellect, or the pure self is superior to mind, and since it transcends the mind. So somebody who is superior to mind, Paramatman. And we have recently been seeing the context of who that Paramatman is, the Satchidananda Paramatma, according to what we were learning recently. Sat and Chit and Jnanam, Anantam, Anandam, all of those are various attributes of Paramatman.
Guruji, I just want one question. You said Atindro, it is Upendro, na?
So we are in the 17th shloka.
Oh, the second
line. Yeah, second line. Sorry.
correct. Thank you.
I'm using a different book. Yeah. Second line of the 17th shloka, the first nama.
Yeah, Atindra. Yeah.
Okay. The next nama is Sangrahaha. And we use this word in many of our regional languages as well. Sangraha is, something you can put something together, like, something you can. So in Telugu, we actually say Sangrahinchuta, if there is anybody Telugu here. So some Sangrahanam. Collection. So something you can collect together. So that's one context. The other one is somebody who can be easily reached. Sangrahanam. So we actually can grihnati. I'm able to reach Bhagavan very easily. So that's one of the meanings that has been given. And he who has everyone under his control, because he is able to reach us. So there are multiple contexts to this, and I would actually ask you to ponder on the Bhagavad Gita that we were learning in the last 2 classes, on how close he is to all of his existence, how easily it is for us to approach him and for him to approach us. So that's why he is Sangrahaha. So the nama that you would use if you were using for Japam would be Om Sangrahaya Namaha. And what it actually, there are multiple interpretations of this. Shankaracharya interprets this as one who withdraws everything into him during pralaya, where he actually collects all of everything that exists into him. And then there is another interpretation this Chinmayananda, Swami Chinmayananda gives us, is that Bhagavan is Sangraha because he holds the entire world of beings and things together. He is the sustainer of the universe and he holds everything in its place. So holds in one form. So if everything is balanced and things are not colliding and collapsing and falling off, that's because of the Sangrahana Shakti of Bhagavan. Okay, so the other interpretation that I've also seen for this is one who is reached by his devotees without any effort. Somebody who is easily reachable. While you can take it as, by praying to him, he is the Bhakta Vatsala, and we can easily reach him. You can take it in that context, or the Pundarikaksha context, where he is actually living in our hearts, and he is not far from us. I don't need to take steps to reach him. He is within me. So that is also the context that you can take. Or he is the consciousness that is all pervading. We started off with the nama Vishwam Vishnuhu. So he is everywhere. So you really are not, you are in absolute like proximity with Bhagavan. So he is quite easily reachable in that sense. So the next nama we will look at, Sangraha and Sargaha. So Sargaha means the creator of himself. And the nama for this one would be Om Sargaya Namaha. And the vyutpati that's given for this is Srijati iti Sargaha, one who creates. So the Sarga nama, the original dhatu or the root form of that is Shrij, which is to create. He is Sarga since he has created the whole world out of himself. Sarga refers to the primary creation as opposed to pralaya or dissolution or the sthiti or the maintenance. Now we are talking about the creative aspect of Bhagavan. And when we talk about the whole, he created the whole world out of himself. Shankaracharya provides in like multiple Upanishads and many of the commentaries. He tries to help us understand this one concept, and he helps us understand that what we call as nyaya in Sanskritam, which is analogy. Sorry, that's my little niece. The analogy that we use, sorry, I'll mute for one quick sec. Apologize for that. I have a much older kid, a 20-year-old kid, so I usually don't need to do mute myself very often, but I'm enjoying my time with my family. So there is this nyaya that we use. It's called as abhinna nimitta upadana karanam. So you may want to write this down if you're making notes. And you will hear this very often, and it's a very important and beautiful concept to understand. And I think we have discussed this in the past. I'm just going to reiterate. There are certain analogies, certain nyayas that we will keep hearing, and Shankaracharya will nail it into our heads very, very frequently. The snake and the rope, the shell and the silver. Then we will be hearing this Urnana Bhinyaya, the spider one, the pot and clay, the golden bangles, all of these will come very often. So what
again, can we explain
yeah,
that Nyaya?
yeah,
What is Nyaya?
yeah.
Sorry?
I will speak to it. But if you are writing it down, it's called as Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam. What it means is Bhagavan is the intelligent and the material cause of the whole creation. And here Shankaracharya tries to explain this
Guruji,
with
can you repeat it once again, Guruji? Bhagavan
sure,
is...
sure. Maybe I could write it in the chat. Maybe easier that way. Abhinna nimitta upadana karanam. So what it says, and Shankaracharya explains this with the example of a carpenter. So let's assume that there is a creator, and this creator is a carpenter, and there he's trying to create a table or a chair or some kind of furniture. So what he would need to accomplish this task of creating or building a chair is that he needs material, like he needs wood, he needs nails, and he needs other stuff. And he needs some instruments to be able to do that function. He needs a hammer, and he probably needs a table. He needs a chair where he can sit and do this work, or he needs some space where he can sit and do this work. And then the third thing that he would need is the intelligence to be able to create a chair, on how to cut the wood into meaningful pieces of wood so he can put those things together, and then he can do it. And he needs to, of course, have the desire to be able to create. So here again, a nice beautiful connection to how the same language we would use in Lalita Sahasranamam as Icha, Jnana, and Kriya Shaktis, right? Like there is a desire, the Icha Shakti, and we're talking about the knowledge on how to create, which is the Kriya Shakti, so Jnana Shakti, and the actual action of getting it done, that is the Kriya Shakti. So if Bhagavan were to be a creator, then if these instruments or the tools to create this universe, or if the wood that is required to create the chair, similarly the material that is required to create the universe existed before the universe existed or before him, then he is not the Bhagavan that we are talking about. We are saying the Bhagavan is the original creator of everything. But in this context, do we then assume that all of this previously existed and then Bhagavan manifested himself and then he put all of these things together to create this universe? Then that's not really Bhagavan, that in this context of who is the original creator, or of even of those materials, even of the space where the Bhagavan has to sit and make these materials, or of the creation itself, because creation includes those materials and tools. So what then it has to be that the material that the world is created with also has to be within himself, and the intelligence of creating the universe is also within himself. So within him lies the icha, the desire to create, lies the jnana, the intelligence on how to create, and the kriya shakti of the action of being able to create the universe, and the tools required for it and the material required for it all have to be within him. Otherwise, he would not be the Bhagavan that we are describing here. So what this means, and Shankaracharya then gives an example of, is that even possible? Like, how does material and intelligence be within the same aspect? And here we see the Urnanabhi Nyayam is what we call it. Urnanabhi is nothing but a spider. The spider creates its home by merely producing the material from within itself. Unlike a bird that builds a nest, brings the material from outside and creates a nest, or how we build our houses with material that is already available. We gather it together and we build a house. Unlike the only insect that we know of or we frequently see is the spider. It doesn't look for material outside. It is creating the material. It is creating its web from the material within. So similarly, Bhagavan also had to be abhinna, means non-different or indifferent. Nimitta, which is the intelligent cause. Upadana, which is the material cause of the whole universe. So Sargaha means that from him came all the material that we are made of. Just think about the impact of this statement. That all the atoms, all the protons, neutrons, and all the chemicals, whatever I'm made up of, should have come from the original creator. So even if you want to put this into the scientific theory and what science talks about today, the God's particle and how there was a big bang and the whole universe got created. And after so many billions of years, or 13 billion or so, what exists today as me and this laptop and everybody on the call, all of those atoms, all of those material that we are made up of should have originally existed in that first Big Bang. There cannot be new material or new energy created in this 13 billion years. It had to have existed then, and that's how it exists today. And if you watch some of those documentaries, they confirmed that this is exactly how it would have worked. And we, of course, know the most famous theory that energy and matter can neither be created nor destroyed. They can only change forms. Okay, so Vedanta and science agree on various aspects, and science is yet to catch up with what's been given in the Vedas, as we all know. Wanted to just bring that idea and discuss that. Any questions or any thoughts anybody wants to share before I move to the next nama?
See, I was thinking of when you explained this upayam, the very concept of the om, meaning of om or the mantra, where a being the your atman, and then the u, and then the ma is us, and then the u is the means of all what we talked about, the body, the intellect, and then a is the god, and so trying to link and connect the three.
Mm-hmm. The way I would have learned about Om would be from Mandukya Upanishad, Anuji, where we talk about the Sthula Shariram, Sukshma Shariram, the causal body, the gross body, subtle body, and the causal body, the Karana Shariram. And those are the Om, A, U, M, or A, U, Ma. And then the Turiyam is the consciousness. That's more of a description from Mandukya Upanishad. Would you know the context of this, Paramatman, Jivatman, and Jagat context of Om from where it is?
I guess this is one of the teachings during my, I guess, the Alvars and all that, when they talk about in Ramanujacharya,
Mm,
how he explained in his Bhashya, Auma.
okay. It is how the universe is, right? Like, just like yesterday, what we were talking about. There are three aspects. Like, Bhagavan was one alone, like ekameva dvitiyam. There was nobody else or nothing else that existed before Bhagavan created the universe. And from him came the whole universe, and from there came the Jivatma. And this Jivatma has a limited existence and transforms into something else. And Om is the Pranavanadam, right? Like from him emerged the first Nada, and it is also the sound of the space, the Akash, as the Pancha Mahabhutas, the elemental sound. So I'm assuming, like, from that Nadam, that's the derivation. So, but I do have to look it up to see if there is any other color. That's how I would reconcile it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Guruji, I wanted to know, is Abhinannam, which you said, is that material aspect, sir?
Abhinna means non-different or indifferent. There is no difference. How do I put it? It is from him that both nimitta is the intelligence, upadana means the material, karanam, of course, is the cause.
Okay. Thank you, Guruji.
There are no two at that time is what we are trying to understand.
Okay. So you're saying different and indifferent, huh?
Yeah, I'm just using the opposite of different as there could be a different intelligent cause and there is a different material cause. In this case, they're not different. It's the same Bhagavan that is both the intelligent and the material cause for the creation.
Okay. Thank you, Guruji.
So we'll look at the next nama, which is Dhritatma. Yeah. So supporter of all the Jivatmas. And so the nama that we would use if we were to do the japa for this one, or pujanam, or any in any other way, if you want the specific nama, it is Om Dhritatmane Namaha. Uh, Based on how each of the words and the dhatus work, it's not always the same. Like when we say like usually Aya Namaha, Sargaya Namaha, that's very frequent one. So in this case, it would be Dhritatmane Namaha. And one who supports all the Jivatmas, and one who supports or conducts himself uninfluenced by any change. So there are two different meanings for this. So somebody who doesn't go through, there are six changes that we talk about: asti, jayate, vardhate, viparinamate, and things like that, which is basically the birth, the growth, the existence, and then death, and all of that. So he is somebody who is not afflicted by any change, or he's not influenced by any change. That's the nama for Dhritatma. The next one is Niyamaha. Niyama, as we already know, we use this in our regional languages too. The Nam means the one that controls everything, the controller. And if we want to do the mantra for this one, would be Om Niyamaya Namaha. So one who assigns and directs the different functions to the different beings. And here, when we talk about beings, it's not just the Jivatmas, it's also the all the other aspects of the creation itself, and all other forms of Bhagavan. When we talk about Indra or any other form of Bhagavan, we are saying he is the one who directs and provides, assigns, he delegates all of these activities for the creation to perform its duties. And the root yam, niyam, right? The yam has two meanings. Yam uparame, to check, and yam to surround. So there are two different meanings for this. The one who is the creator of all beings is also naturally the controller of all of those beings, which is pretty straightforward for us to understand. If he has created, then he would be controlling everything. And it is he who orders all the mighty forces of nature and prescribes for each the laws of their conduct, the ways of their behavior, and the methods of their functions. So we are talking about the sun, moon, the air, like all the Panchabhutas. They're all appointed and controlled by the Lord. Think about, from an, micro particle within us to the cosmic particles. Like, when we talk about the gravitational force, the magnetic force, all the energies, and what happens within our body. When we talk about 72,000 nadis and how the circulation system works. How complex is all of this? And every aspect of this universe does its function. I actually sometimes feel it's only humans that I think we are Bhagavan's experiment that probably did not go really well. We are the only one that actually I don't know if anybody watched the Tamil movie, Rajnikant movie, Robo. I feel like we are something like that. We create he creates these intelligent beings, and that suddenly become less intelligent, and they want to encroach the whole universe, and they want to take over. Like, now we talk about asteroid mining, and we want, as if the resources are not enough on Earth. Now we want to go and mine from there as well, so we can finish that within 100 years. just like how we finished the entire oil in the Middle East or some specific country in Middle East. So, except human beings to some degree, he controls, and everything is defined by the laws of nature, and we all perform our duties within his purview. The next nama is Yamaha, the ruler. Of course, we know Yama, but let's see what Yama really means. The mantra for this one would be Om Yamaya Namaha, Yachati iti Yamaha, or Yamayati iti Yamaha. So there are two different vyutpattis for this one. One who rules. He rules all ourselves from within. And we have seen the same in many other namas. That he is ruling within us, and whether we consider that consciousness, whether we consider that he is the Pundarikaksha, we called him the Purusha, we called him the Upendra. There are multiple ways of saying the same thing, that he is within us and ruling us from within. He also rules all the beings of the earth from within the sphere of the sun. And here we have also seen the namam called Hiranyagarbha, where he is in the center of the universe. So Brihadaranyaka Upanishad uses this yaha atmanam antaro yamayati. He who rules from the self from within is what Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says. And the other one is he who rules the earth from within, which is the Hiranyagarbha Nama. In that sense, he is the ruler. Now we'll go to Shloka 18. Are there any thoughts, or anybody wants to share any thoughts or any questions, anything we have to go back and look at?
Could you read those two lines in the sloka form, please?
This one, the Upendra Vamana
Yeah.
Pramsha. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry. I was teaching Bhagavad Gita an hour ago, so I'm in the Bhagavad Gita chanting style. Give me 1 second. Upendro Vamana sorry. I'm still in that mode, so I'll just do the Bhagavad Gita style, so that might be much easier for me now. Upendro Vamanah Pramshur Amogha Shuchirurjitah Atindra Sangraha Sargo Dhrutatmani Yamo Yamaha. Not the way I'm supposed to. I shouldn't be doing the pauses in between. Apologies for that. It's for some reason difficult for me to just switch between how the Anushtup Chandas works with the breaking between 8 syllables and the 16 syllables.
Thank you.
Okay.
Guruji, I wanted to ask when you said Yamaha. So is this anything connected to Yama God and all that, something like that?
Yes. It is. So when we talk about Yama, and he who actually tells us, based on what the Chitragupta makes an account of all the activities that we have done and puts them into two categories of these are the punya karmas and these are the papa karmas. And finally, the results are being, produced, or the accounts are being produced, and Yama looks at those and he gives us the results of our fruits of action. And put that into the same context as Chitragupta, I've been told, is the Chittagupta, the memory in our heads. Chittam is memory. So all of the activities that we are doing are being taken note in our memory, in our subtle memory. And Bhagavan, the consciousness, gives us the fruits of those actions. So Yama is none other, you can take that as a Purana, and you can think, he lives in Swarga and then he gives people the Swarga and Naraka. Or you can take that as somebody who rules from within. So for me, there is only one Bhagavan. So that's how, like, I was able to reconcile all of this and put that into one package. And there is one Bhagavan. So I see him as the Yama, I see him as the sun god, I see him as the planets. There is nothing else for me. But if you want to see it as Yama, he is also the one that's been appointed by Bhagavan himself. Bhagavan appointed Yama to do these duties. So you can put it in that context as well.
Okay, so that means there is, I mean, each different versions are there, of course, but we all say that everything culminates into one, which is, as you said, Bhagavan. So
Correct.
we call them by different names and different this at different context, but everything goes in the same.
Exactly.
Everything flows through the same river.
Exactly. The way I would think of it as, a particular person doing a specific duty. For example, I am a mother, I'm a wife, I'm an employee, I'm a student, and I play so many other roles in my life, but ultimately I am one Shri. So when you see me in my office, you would call me an employee, or you would call me, like, my team calls me a boss and my boss calls me a staff member. But it's all one God that is performing all of these duties. So you can give them all the different names, but ultimately there can only be one Bhagavan.
Thank you, Guruji.
Guruji, I don't know whether I'm making sense. Like when you were telling me about Sangraha, like I was relating everything with the 24th sloka which you had taught us, Vishwatma Sahasraksha Sahasrapad.
Mm-hmm.
So, like he is so everywhere, where he's encompassing the whole, like the
Correct.
everything, the galaxy, everything. I
Yeah.
don't know, like I'm combining everything, and that's what I get, like ultimately.
Correct. And that's the evolution you're seeing, Anitaji. That's what Bhagavan is. He's not limited by space. We can if we say, oh, is he not in Kailash or is he not in Vaikunta? Absolutely, he is in Vaikunta and he is in Kailash. What we are saying is he has to be everywhere too. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to sustain without him.
True. Yeah, he is like he's encompassing the whole thing. Like that's what I'm getting, that feeling constantly.
Yeah. And the more you actually feel it, like when you go to the temple and kind of understand, and actually, like, whenever I do Kalyanam or the Satyanarayana Vratam or any of my Sri Vidya Upasana or any puja, and I do like lots of Srinivasa Kalyanam very often. And my like the frequent place that I visit is a temple in Nova in Michigan. Actually, we drive there and we do it very often. And I love to do it. And when and the Purohits there are amazing. Veda Panditas from the Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam, the Veda Patashala there. So when they perform the Kalyanam, or when you perform Kalyanam in Tirumala, my like just tears flow down my eyes, because I feel this is what you have created. I am literally a speck of dust somewhere, like, on a planet in some corner, in billions of galaxies, and to the degree that we, at least, our telescopes are able to see, and we don't even know what's the extent of this creation. But here you are, and I am doing Kanyadanam to you. Just that feeling itself, how approachable he is to the reality of who he is. Like, that's the Sangraha that we are talking about. So that's my personal experience and feeling that I'm talking about. But all
Yeah,
of you
Guruji. Yesterday I had that feeling because yesterday was the Tirukalyanam in the temple and we did the Kanyadanam for him.
yeah,
So it was a mesmerizing moment, what you
yeah,
said. Whatever you're saying, I can feel it. I had gone through that yesterday.
yeah.
Vijay, which temple you said in Michigan? Where is it?
It's in Novi.
No.
So just, yeah, it's
Okay.
Novi, Michigan. It's a beautiful temple.
Okay.
Guruji, is Novi in Michigan?
Yeah, it's in Michigan, pretty close to Detroit, actually. It's, I drive there and it's about 3.5
So
hours.
it is similar to the Pittsburgh one?
It is similar and it's a little closer to us.
Oh.
I think it's
Oh.
called Sri Venkateswara Temple, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a suburb of Detroit.
Yeah. And just in this trip, I've been lucky enough to go to the Malibu Temple in LA, near LA. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. They actually closed the temple because of COVID reasons, and they're only opening over the weekends. But I had the good fortune of being able to go to that temple and do Abhishekam for Bhagavan for the Janmashtami. So I've felt like, the same kind of feeling again on I'm here and you opened the doors for me.
Wow, very good, Guruji. You're blessed.
I felt really blessed.
And then Guruji, actually, this Janmashtami, which you're saying that I was looking into that, we as such in the Guruvayur temple, they take this as in the month of not Adi Masam, that into the next one, Chinyam, because we look into September 10th as Janmashtami. Because Ashtami, Rohini, both is coming together.
I see.
That's what they do in Guruvayur.
Yeah, and there are minor differences, I guess. Some follow the solar calendar and the lunar calendar, and sometimes we follow, what I do is our month lunar calendar starts from Amavasya, and some other, the Paurnami is the first day in the month. So there are, I think, minor differences between the calendars. We will celebrate his birthday every day. So I'm I'm happy that he is getting more birthdays.
Wow. Thank you, Guruji.
Awesome. So we'll pause here for the week and we'll catch up next week. And sorry for the minor different disturbance in the middle. I'll just conclude with a short prayer. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Sarvam Sriman Charanara Vindarpanamastu. Thank you so much for your time. We'll catch up next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
धन्यवादः भगिनी. Thank you.
Dhanyavadaha Mahoday. Dhanyavadaha.
Thank you, Sriji.
Dhanyavadaha.
Thank you.
Dhanyavadaha.